stretchy. This one has plenty of crotch space that I could still stretch it like a ton. I would not be scared of a bodysuit, especially one with this much coverage. I mean, you see as you guys know, I had 2 C-sections, so you can see my fupa extends from here to here. Look, it goes all the way to this hip, and I know we're getting like super personal here, and I'll cover this up, but mine goes from there to there, okay? And the reason being, when I had MJ, they cut here to here, and you could see this side saggier than the other, but MJ actually crawled back up. So they tried forceps, they tried a vacuum, it didn't work. He turned around and started crawling back up. So the doctor had to cut me like here to here so that he climbed the table, straddled me, and took MJ out of my stomach with his hands, okay? Because he turned around and crawled back up. When I had Grayson, it was the same set of doctors. So because of the way my scar tissue all healed because of how stretched it was from when he stuck his arms literally in my stomach, they cut me hip to hip so that they can remove all of the tissue and all of the stuff that was happening down up in this area. And again, you can see I'm lopsided there still, but it's all part of having kids. So I was cut hip to hip. So my fupa is unusually long, and the shelf, anybody who has the shelf will understand. The shelf typically like ends like somewhere here. My shelf extends to here. And that's usually a concern of mine in underwear, because if you can see it right here, look, there's my scar. If I don't have underwear that cover it, my shelf is popping out of the side. But this allows for the shelf to fully be in there. Does that make sense? Like, I'm sorry that I have to like get so graphic, guys, but like, it's so difficult to understand because I appear thin, like under clothes. I'm also wearing tummy control Judy Blues. So let's do those. My fupa, and I'm like, dude, y'all don't even know. Okay. So let's get real. I literally had 3 tacos. Okay. So this is what's happening here. Okay. It's not cute. Hangs over the pants. When you go to pull your pants up, it gets stuck. I mean, kids. I wish my belly button was happy. Instead, it's sad. Okay, so I did this the other day, and I want to show you now because I think it's important for you guys to see. Oh my God, Christina, I never heard of it either. I've known of babies to twist, but not actually like go back up in there. They were like, he's retreating. And I was like, what? Because they tried, I want to say it was forceps first, then vacuum. And then when that didn't work, he straight up cut me further, got on the table, straddled, and stuck his arms in like this. And literally, I don't remember if he twisted him in my stomach or pulled him out. I don't remember. I remember Grayson, they cut, and because I had all that shit going on, it was so super thin right there that when they cut, he literally, that's why he has his bummed lung, he came flying out. They didn't have to do nothing. They literally cut, and all you hear is a massive gush, and he came shooting out like a freaking rocket ship. And because he came out so quickly, he swallowed a ton of the water. And unfortunately, I was holding him and snugging him. They were like, he's singing! And they rushed him out of the OR or whatever I was in. I mean, I had a C-section, so I'm assuming it's the OR. I'm not a nurse or a doctor, so I don't know these technical terms, but I did hear them screaming, he's singing. They took him out, hooked him up to a bunch of machines. It's so funny because some of my nurses who took care of me and Grayson are actually here in this group. And I will never forget, they snuck me into the NICU in the bed, like in the big bed that you're not supposed to be in, because I literally was like, I am not doing anything until I see my baby and understand what is happening. And I remember going in there and he was just hooked up to like a million things. And I'll never forget, it was like that night, I think, or maybe the next morning, they were giving him a bath and I still hadn't gotten up to walk around. And I think it was Susan. She was giving him a bath, and she told one of the nurses to come up and get me so I didn't miss his first bath. And I'll never forget, she was like, you have to get up. You have to walk because I cannot bring that entire bed in there again. I'll get in trouble. I got up. I was in so much pain. And I remember getting in the wheelchair and her rolling me down and me seeing Grayson's first bath while I was in a wheelchair, and he was hooked up to all sorts of crap. It was bizarro, but I want to say the singing sounded like a humming because he had fluid in his lungs. So they were giving him all sorts of stuff to dry the fluid, but unfortunately it never, like, because he was being tube fed and stuff, it healed, but not fully. So that's why, and then when he went to school, he got RSV, which only, you know, further effed him. So unfortunately, that's why we are like huge germaphobes. We were with MJ to begin with, but then Grayson has like bad asthma and everything because of his bummed lung. And yeah, it was all like so crazy because I was still like out of it. When they numbed me with Grayson, I didn't have feeling from here down. They gave me way too much anesthesia and I couldn't feel anything from here. I had a panic attack because I thought I wasn't breathing because I couldn't feel my chest rising. I'll never forget that. But those nurses are literally angels from above because y'all made sure, they made sure that I didn't miss a thing. So I am thankful. He's singing. That's all I remember. He's singing. And I was like, what does that mean? And they ran out and Matt was like, which way do I go? Do I stay with Pam? Do I go with the baby? And I told him to go with the baby. That's when he came in and told me what it meant. And I was like, oh my God. All right, let me pick the winner. I'm 4 minutes over. Sorry. All right, guys, I'm going to post these to the app and the website. I was told I was looking to get more epidural drugs when oh my God, Ashley. I was just 2 scheduled C-sections, so I never had like any sort of thing, but I know, what do you get when you get your C-section? That thing, the spinal, I think it's called. Oh my God, that thing hurts so bad when they stick it in and it burns like hell. Oh my God, it was so bad. I remember when I had MJ, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was in so much pain. And I remember saying, it's the middle of the night, and I was like, turtle, I want the turtle medicine. And they were like, what? And Matt's like, she just keeps asking for the turtle medicine. And it was Turadol, apparently. They gave it to me. And I wanted more turtle, and I was calling it the turtle medicine. I didn't have that with Grayson. I actually only took Motrin after Grayson. Fun fact, was not fun. But I'm like, I started getting weirder and weirder about medicine, you know, as time went on. So yeah, no turtle medicine with Grayson. But I did take Motrin. Like, you know how they give you like Motrin 600 or whatever it is? Literally, Christine. You're not even kidding. Oh, I love that, Bonnie Sue. We did the same thing. We bought them, I want to say we bought lunch one day, breakfast one day, because with a C-section, I think I stayed 4 days. It was Centra-State. And I want to say I did breakfast, lunch, and dinner one day, because we did bagels. I know with MJ, I think Matt went to Wegmans and got like a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to think what he did for Grayson. Oh, he went to La Rosa and brought dinner from La Rosa and lunch. I want to say it might have been Chinese food. Maybe. Don't quote me. Rebecca, one thing that I must say, and the majority of us will vouch, we did it more than once. And if you're willing to do it more than once, it's something that has to be worth it. Does that make sense? So like, as much as it sucks, like, oh, I didn't breastfeed. I had so many moms who had so much trouble breastfeeding that I told myself, I was like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just going to stress me out. So I didn't breastfeed. And drying up my boobs with that cabbage when MJ was colicky, crying all the time, and I like steaming hot showers, it was the worst experience of the whole thing. Drying up my boobs that were like up to here on fire. I put ice inside of a baby diaper and wrapped my boobs with a baby diaper. And Matt had to go to the grocery store and get me cabbage. And he would keep it in the fridge at the hospital. And at night would come with my cold cabbage. All the nurses were dying because they'd go in the fridge and be like, who's cabbage? And they'd be like, oh, it's a room, blah, blah, blah. My boob cabbage. Miracles do happen. MJ is a miracle. Ooh, that's a good choice, Broad Street Donuts. Oh my God, Ashley, more power to you. I won't do it again. I'm good with 2. I like my 2. I can't do it again. My uterus, unfortunately, is too weak. And Matt got the snip anyway, but that's why he got the snip, because my uterus is too weak. And the doctor actually didn't want to do it because he was only 20. I don't know. How old is Grayson? 7? How old is Matt? I'm 37, 30. He was 27, and they didn't want to do it because he wasn't even 30, but my doctor had to write a note saying that I could not get pregnant again because if I did, my uterus could totally explode and then I would die and the baby would die. Yay. I'm like, yay, me. Beth, I literally love that. I mean, I don't love that. Obviously, you struggled, but I love that you adopted. I do. That was something that Matt and I had tossed around for a while. It's just, we're okay now. It doesn't say that in the future, like when the kids get older, we're not going to be like empty nesters and want to, but right now we're good. But I love that for you. Like, I love that you did that because there are plenty of children who need homes. My sister's an ER nurse. I remember that, Christine. That was rough. That was not fun. It's scary. Oh my God, Rebecca, I didn't know that about you. Wow. Wow. I had no idea. None. Good for you. Wow. It's so funny because there's so many people that we all interact with every day that are adopted. And because most, knock on wood, people who are adopted are getting adopted by loving, and again, I say most, not all, are adopted by loving parents. And you would never think people aren't going around being like, these are my parents, but they're really not my real parents. Oh my gosh. Shut up, Rebecca. Sherry, I did know that. Wow. Shali, wow. 6 years. Dang, I thought my year was a long time. 6 years. Holy cow. Christine, I had no idea. I love that. 16 years. It's funny because we were just talking about how 10, 12, 13 years ago when Matt and I first started dating, it wasn't really a thing to talk about infertility and, postpartum depression and stuff like that. It really wasn't spoken about. And I'm so glad it is because it lets us know that we're not alone. 1 in 4 women, and I think now the statistic is closer to 1 in 3, struggle with either infertility or loss, miscarriage. So it's just very unfortunate that, when I had my miscarriage forever ago, what feels like forever ago, it wasn't something that you openly talked about. I literally told nobody. I didn't tell my parents or Matt's mom or anybody for the longest time. I didn't say anything. Matt knew, obviously. A few people knew, close friends. One not so close friend found out by accident, but whatever. But yeah, it wasn't talked about. And Google wasn't a thing. So it wasn't you can Google, there weren't support groups for miscarriage. So it's kind of crazy, how far we've come. And I love it for everyone because that was one of the things that I think I struggled with. And when I had postpartum with MJ, I guess 10 years ago, it was not talked about, but it was just starting to be a topic, where you would see signs in the doctor's office that would say oh, are you struggling with, feelings of depression, blah, 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 after having a baby. The signs were in the office, but your doctor didn't fully ask about it. By Grayson, 7 years ago, they asked, but it could be because I, struggled with MJ, but I'm so glad it's spoken about now and that, people are understanding that there are multiple kinds of postpartum depression. It doesn't just mean you're going to be sad. There's, intrusive thoughts and obviously depression and anxiety and all sorts of other things that can come along with postpartum. And I didn't know that. And when I had MJ, I had the worst intrusive thoughts, and I thought I was crazy, not that I was struggling with postpartum. So I literally said nothing until I thought about throwing him out of a window, which I didn't, obviously. I called Matt and told him I was going crazy because I had a thought of throwing him out the window. And then I went and saw my doctor and talked to him about it, and he was like, oh, you have postpartum. And I'm like, excuse me? And because I thought it was just, you know, being sad. That was 13 years ago, before I was a doula. And now I speak about it because some people still don't know. And I want you to know it's normal. It's okay to go and find somebody to help you, to either be medicated if you need to be, or to just speak to somebody or whatever. But it doesn't like impede my life. I mean, the only time it impedes my life is if I wash my hands twice in the bathroom instead of once. So it's not like, you know, it's a long-term thing. However, if the TV's on an odd number, I can't. I will literally spiral. So the TV must be on an even number. I'm like, the TV must never be on an odd number.